Good morning, children. Welcome back to the lesson The Happy Prince. Already we had a session on it with the detailed introduction about the Happy Prince. When he was alive, he was very happy. But after his death, a statue was made and he was placed on a tall column. From there, he could see the miseries and ugliness of people, and he was very sad to see those things. And one day, a bird, a little swallow, who was on its way to Egypt because his friends had already gone 6 weeks before, he too was going towards Egypt, wanted to take rest under the statue between the feet. Okay, and while he was there, a curious thing happened. That was nothing but a drop of water fell on its body, and when it is repeated for third time, the bird looked at the happy prince and he could see the happy prince was crying. When he asked about why he was crying, the happy prince said he could see the miseries and ugliness of people and he wanted to help people. Okay, and in that series, the first person who was helped is a seamstress, a tailor, and her son was suffering from fever and he wanted to eat oranges, but she had nothing to give except river water. So happy prince requested the swallow to give him the ruby from his sword hilt. Okay, there we stopped. Page number 29 we stopped. Now all of you take page number 30. Okay, yeah, I am waiter for in Egypt, said the swallow. My friends are flying up and down the Nile and talking to the large lotus flowers. Soon they will go to sleep. So, as a reply, the bird said to the happy prince that he was waited by his friends in Egypt, and by this time they would be exposing to sunlight in the Nile river. Okay, talking to the lotus flower there. I too wanted to be there. The prince asked the swallow to stay with him for one night and be his messenger. That was the request. At least for one night, the bird should stay with the happy prince and to act as a messenger. You know what a messenger is? One who carries a message is called messenger. The boy is so thirsty and the mother so sad, he said. Okay, you look at that boy. I can see from here, he was very thirsty and mother was very sad. I don't think I like boys, but the bird did not like boys. You know, generally boys will pelt test bird or disturb a bird. So this bird, like any other birds, did not like boys. I want to go to Egypt. But the happy prince looked so sad that the little swallow was sorry. It is very cold here, he said, but he agreed to stay with him for one night and be his messenger. Though the climate is not favorable for the bird to continue its stay there, it was very cold outside. In spite of that, the bird finally agreed to stay back and to act as a messenger. Thank you, little swallow, said the prince. The swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away with it in his beak over the roof of the town. And finally, as said, the bird took the ruby. You know ruby? What is ruby? A very precious red stone. Already we discussed. Okay, a very precious red stone that was decorated on the sword hilt, now removed by the bird in order to give to that lady. And the bird flew away with it on his beak. But you know, the beak, beak of a bird, what you call in Hindi, choch, beak. For example, a bird. Okay, this is the beak. Beak over the roof of the town. He passed by the cathedral tower, the church tower, where the white marble angels were sculptured. Okay, sculpture, like statue, sculpture. So sculptured, made of, that action is called sculpturing, making a sculpture. Okay, sculptured. He passed by the palace and heard the sound of the dancing. A beautiful girl came out on the balcony with her lover. So the bird could see the church and nearby the palace, and a beautiful girl coming out of the balcony with her lover. I hope my dress will be ready in time for the state ball, she said. I have ordered flowers to be embroidered on it, but the seamstresses are so lazy. Actually, this lady, this beautiful girl, has given order to embroider her dress, and the seamstress was doing, and she is blaming the seamstress are all lazy fellows. He passed over the river and saw the lanterns hanging on the mast, the pole, the mast of the ships. At last he came to the poor woman's house and looked in. The boy was tossing feverishly on bed. What was the boy doing there? Tossing. What a tossing means? Jumping up and down. Tossing feverishly on his bed. Means he was shaking with fever. And the mother had fallen asleep. She was so tired, he hopped means jumped, and laid the great ruby on the table beside the woman's thimble. Thimble, it is a metal covering for your finger. When you are sewing things, there is a small metal cover that all tailors used to wear. That is called thimble, and the picture is given at the end of the text. You can see at the end of the text, the picture is given. Thimble, a metal or plastic cap with a closed end worn to protect the finger and push the needle in sewing. While sewing, this is required. Okay, it is given at the end of the text. Then he flew gently round the bed, fanning the boy's forehead with his wings. And not only did the bird hand over that ruby, it wanted to comfort the boy by fanning with the wings. The bird started using its wing to give fresh air. How cool I feel, said the boy. And the boy was very happy to get that cool air. I must be getting better, the boy felt, and he sank into a delicious slumber. What is slumber? Deep sleep. Okay, slumber is deep sleep. Delicious means tasty sleep. That means sound sleep. Here the boy had sound sleep. Then when the swallow flew back to the happy prince and told him what he had done. It is curious, he remarked, but I feel quite warm now, although it is so cold. The bird is now very happy because the bird has done a good job, and further by flying the bird became little warm, and now he doesn't feel much cold. That is because you have done a good action, said the prince. And the little swallow began to think and then fell asleep. Thinking always made him sleepy. So for you also, thinking always make people sleepy, right? Finally the bird slept. When day broke, means when the day happened, he flew down to the river and had a bath. Not like you children, the bird is very particular about taking a bath early in the morning. Okay, tonight I go to Egypt, said the swallow, and he was in high spirit at the prospect. Prospect means idea or plan. Prospect means idea or plan. He visited all the monuments and sat a long time on top of the church steeple. So here is the picture of the seamstress house. Mother is very tired and sad and was drowsing on the table, and the boy was in his bed tossing with fever, and the bird just came and dropped the ruby near to the thimble, because next day she will make use of the thimble for sewing. That time she would never miss to see that ruby. That is the purpose. Okay, now the bird is visiting a monument, okay, and the church steeple. When the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. When it was evening, when the moon started appearing on the sky, the bird came back to the happy prince. Have you any commissions for Egypt? What is commission here? Order. Is there any order that I do for you? He cried, I am just starting. I am going to Egypt. Then Prince, solo, solo, little solo, said the prince in a musical tone. Will you stay with me one night longer? And again the prince asked, can the bird stay one more night? I am waited for in Egypt, answered the swallow. My friends are already there. I have to go there, so I should go. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince. Far away across the city, I see a young man in a garret. He is leaning over a desk covered with papers, and in the glass by his side there is a bunch of withered violets. His hair is brown and crisp, and his lips are red as pomegranate, and he has large and dreamy eyes. He is trying to finish a play for the director of the theatre, but he is too cold to write any more. There is no fire in the grate, and hunger has made him faint. So Happy Prince could see another man. Who is that? A playwright. You know what a playwright is? One who writes drama or play. So what is his problem? He is suffering from cold. What is lacking there? There is no fire in the grate. Okay, in every house there will be a fireplace in cold region. Okay, those who are living in the cold region, every house will have a fireplace, and there is no fire in that, and the man was shivering and what do you mean by garret? Yes, a difficult word for you here. Garret means meaning is given at the end of the text. It is a small room, a small dark room at the top of the house. That means he may be a very poor man living in a small room, but he is a young man. Okay, and his hair is brown and crisp. Lips are like pomegranate. You know what is pomegranate? It's a fruit, anar. Red color lips is there for him, and his eyes, dreamy eyes. Okay, children, what is his problem? There is no fire in his fireplace, and he is suffering from cold, and he is unable to write the drama or to complete the drama, finish the drama, and he is trying to finish the play for the director of the theatre. So I will wait with you one night longer, said the swallow. Finally, swallow was under the impression that he should continue helping the Happy Prince, so he stayed back for one more day. Who really had a good heart. He asked if he should take another ruby to the young playwright. Okay, that is what I told you, playwright. That man is a playwright, one who writes the play is called playwright. Okay, and the bird asked whether he could help that man by giving a ruby. Alas, means expression of sorrow. Alas, I have no ruby now, said the prince. My eyes are all that I have left. They are made of rare sapphires. And actually that eyes of the prince is made of sapphire. What is sapphire? I told you already. A precious blue stone. It was made of rare sapphires which were brought out of India 1,000 years ago. Actually that was a precious stone. Yeah, that sapphire was very precious, and it was brought out of India, and he ordered the swallow to pluck out one of them and take it to the playwright. He will sell it to the jeweler and buy firewood and finish his play, he said. Okay, let him buy some fire for the fireplace, and let him finish the play, he said. Dear prince, said the swallow, I cannot do that, and he began to weep. But the bird is not ready to pluck the eyes, because the prince would become partially blind if one is taken out. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, do as I command you. What I order that you do, no other go. So the swallow plucked out the prince's eye and flew away to the young man's garret. Garret in a small room. It was easy enough to get in, as there was a hole in the roof. Through this he darted. What he darted? Moved fast. Darted and came into the room. The young man had his head buried in his hands. He was lying down, his head buried in his hands, so he did not hear the flutter. Flutter means beating of the wings. What is flutter here? Beating of the wings, fluttering sound of the bird. Okay, flutter of the bird's wing. And when he looked up, he found the beautiful sapphire lying on the withered violet. What is withered means? Dried. Violets means flower. It was there. Where was it? Where did the bird keep the sapphire? On the withered violet, and he could see it. I am beginning to be appreciated, he cried. He felt somebody is appreciating him, so somebody gifted that sapphire to him. So he was very happy. This is from some great admirer. What is admirer? Admirer? One who worship a person is called admirer. Admirer, now I can finish my play, and he looked quite happy. Now he felt, okay, and now I can finish the play. The next day, the swallow flew down to the harbor. Harbor, you know, a place where ships are kept. Ship on the sea shore, you can see this harbor. That seashore is called harbor, where ships are kept. Okay, he sat on the mast of the large vessel. What is vessel? Ship. Large vessel means large ship. Mast means the pole of a ship is called mast. You may have seen. Suppose this is a ship. This is called mast. Okay, mast, right? The mast of a large vessel, and watch the sailor working. I am going to Egypt, he cried. The swallow cried, said, but nobody minded, and when the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. Actually, when it was evening, he went back to the happy prince. I have come to bid you goodbye, he cried. Cried means said, not the real cry. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, will you not stay with me one night longer? Again, same request, one more request from the side of the happy prince, whether the bird could stay one more night. It is winter, it is cool, it is cold, answered the swallow, and the snow will soon be here. In Egypt, the sun is warm on the green palm trees, and the crocodiles lie in the mud and look lazily about them. And the bird is imagining Egypt with a bright sunlight, and the sun is very warm, and the crocodiles. What the crocodile doing there? Exposing to the sunlight. Okay. In the square below, said the happy prince, there stands a little match girl. So little match girl is the third person to be helped. Who is the first one? The seamstress, the tailor. Second, the playwright. And the third, the match girl. You know what is who is a match girl? One who sells matches. She has let her matches fall in the gutter. Actually, what has happened to that girl? She was carrying some matches for sale, but suddenly from her hand all the matches fell into a water pool, a small water pool that is called gutter. And all the matches are spoilt. Her father will beat her if she does not bring home some money. Okay, and she is crying. She has no shoes. You can see that girl has no shoes or stockings, no proper dress, and her little head is bare. There is nothing on her, no scarf on her head. Very poor girl. Pluck out my other eye. Who commanded? Happy prince commanded to that bird, and give it to her, and her father will not beat her. But the happy prince, but the swallow is not ready. I will stay with you one night longer, said the swallow, but I cannot pluck out your eye. You would be quite blind then. Already you are partially blind. If I pluck the other one, you will become totally blind. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, do as I command you. In a musical way he would tell. Happy prince. What did he say? Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, do as I command you. So he plucked out the prince's other eye and darted down with it. Darted means moved fast. He swooped past, that another word, moved past, okay, the match girl, and slipped the jewel into the palm of her hand. And it came, I think the bird is not afraid of girls. So it came near to the girl and given that sapphire in the palm of that girl. What a lovely bit of glass. But that girl did not know the value of that sapphire. What did she say? What a lovely bit of glass, she said. and she ran home laughing because it's a surprise for the girl. She would show this piece of glass to her father, but father can understand this, and he'll be very happy. Okay, that's it. So the remaining part is not narrated here, that you can understand. The girl will be appreciated by her father, and the girl and the father will become rich. That's another thing. Then the solo came back to the prince. You are blind now, he said, so I will stay with you always. Finally, the bird decided not to go to Egypt. Why? Because the prince has become totally blind. So dear children, let us stop here for the day, and let us make a review of what we have already discussed. So today we started with the request that playwright should be helped. Okay, who should be helped? The playwright should be helped. Before that, we have discussed that the bird helped the seamstress by giving one of the rubies, and he placed the ruby near to the thimble. What is that one? That one is used for sewing time. Okay, thimble. Yeah. Then not only that, the bird gave some fanning to the boy, and the boy felt comfortable, and he had a sound sleep. Okay, when there is a sound sleep, automatically the fever will reduce. That is the thing. Okay, now afterwards the bird helped that playwright. How did he help? By taking the sapphire, one of the sapphires from the eyes of the statue, and helped the playwright, and playwright was very happy because he felt somebody was appreciating him, and he could buy firewood now, and he can continue writing the play or finish the play. Then the bird helped that match girl. What was the match girl doing? Match girl was selling matches, but suddenly, unfortunately, her matches fell into a gutter, and she was crying because her father would beat her. So Happy Prince requested the solo to help that girl by giving the other sapphire, but that bird was not ready to pluck. Why? Because by then he would become completely blind. But he commanded. Who commanded? The prince commanded, and the bird obeyed and plucked and handed over that sapphire to that girl, and the girl was very happy. Okay, children. Now tomorrow we will continue with the lesson. Okay, and we'll finish as well. Till then, read well, write down the important words, difficult words in your notebook, and also write the question and the answers. Bye.